Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a day one patch review, and a lot of people yesterday were like, Zeddy, what the hell were those nerfs? That was like nothing. We're gonna go into that and why they were kind of like nothing. We got some dev response about it and how the game is shaping up. As I tweeted out here, I feel like all it did was make our cosmic keyboards a little bit thicker. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, if you haven't already. We post all the time. And no, I'm not calling it X, even though I just called it X. But regardless, I don't know. Anyways, also there was a shop update to new bundles. I get asked if they're worth buying. I'll talk about that. A returning portrait. Also just want to highlight the event portrait I just unlocked to show off like whether, you know, you should grind out to get it and all sorts of other stuff. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like. It helps us out a ton. And yeah, as you can see, it's kind of memeing. You know, is it really a nerf to solid Alibi going to 3? Just helps our weapon out. And overall, if you take a look at the meta, HS replay across all ranks, it's way too early to say, but not much has moved. But honestly, the sentiment amongst most people out there is that, yeah, these balance changes aren't going to really shift the meta too much. And the devs actually did follow up and give a bit of a response on everything, which I thought I would share. So Aleko Garigo, the balance guru at Blizzard, did tweet this out with some dev insights for y'all about today's patch. When we put together our first patch after a new expansion, the meta is still very young. There isn't enough data yet to be confident in major changes, and we really don't want to make changes which can get in the way of natural developments to the meta. The goal for this first patch is for us to make high confidence changes, which will hopefully make the game more fun until the first real patch of the expansion. Even they're not calling it really. I know the quotations are there, but yeah, it's not like the real first big balance patch, which will be coming a few weeks from now. We'll have much more data and player sentiment to go off of then, so we'll be able to make bigger changes if we feel it is necessary. For now, we only want to make minor changes to cards which stood out as both frustrating to play against and were included in powerful, popular decks. The cards we're nerfing today, Lab Constructor and Solid Alibi, were the only cards we felt cleared this high bar for early change, which I do agree with. Solid Alibi, a really hated card for quite some time. It actually has an impact in Wild, which is nice. It makes Quest Mage a little bit worse, which I don't see anybody ever complaining about. Just one of those really infuriating cards. Whether it's bad enough to not run now, that I'm not sure. But I feel like if it's a feels bad card, you really want to nip it in the butt and just make it not playable, not good enough. But at 3, it's probably worth it or very close to it. Lab Constructor, on the other hand, definitely feels like it's a bigger hit as it's a real snowball card. Really, you know, you don't have an answer for that, you lose. And the later it comes out, the more likely you'll have an answer, right? So that change is quite relevant. And if you look at lower ranks where people are playing less good decks or whatever, you're punished harder by cards, in particular like Lab Constructor, where you just don't have an answer, you lose the game. So I totally agree with both of the changes. I'd like to see more changes. We'll talk about that in a future video. But again, in terms of high confidence, like this card is pissing me the hell off, I feel like those are pretty up there, that it's really hard to argue that. It's also important to note most early patches are no strings or number changes, only patches. So it can get them more quickly to you. Basically, they can't change the text on a card, right? Like they can't fundamentally change the card. They can change the mana, the attack, the health. That's basically about it. It's as far as it can go in these like data only hotfix patches. In a few weeks when we have more data and sentiments to go off, we can come back and make changes to the text boxes on both of those cards if need be. So Solid Alibi could still get hit. So could Lab Constructor. And people are like, why not make Lab Constructor a battle cry? Why not make Solid Alibi maybe deal 2 damage or what? Like, these are things they have to, like, the technology's not there to be able to do it through a hotfix is basically what they're saying. For now, we really just wanted to make sure that Hearthstone was as fun as possible for everyone until the next patch. So I'll put it out there. I think like for like a really fast change, it's as good as it's probably going to get considering the constraints they're under, the lack of data. But yeah, you take a look at HS replay, you know, Hunter stands out as like way above everything else, in particular across all ranks. There's player sentiment against like cards like Hollow Hand in particular that people are quite, you know, frustrated and sick with the card. I like the card, but it could be dialed back, right? You don't have to kill it. It could be dialed back, as are other Hunter cards. And the Warlock high roll strategy, let's say with like Amorphous Slime, another card that people really can't stand and don't like, very similar to like the Whomper card from Druid that got nerfed for the very same reasons at the same mana cost, right? So there's plenty of arguments for other cards, which I'm sure we'll make in the upcoming like weeks when we're waiting for the next balance patch. But that's kind of the deal. And I was hoping, personally, on a personal note, I wasn't hoping for a balance patch this quick, like 1 week after the set. Things have keep changing. I wouldn't want to hit anything specifically unless there was clear outliers, which there really weren't, but these were clear, like, feels bad outliers, which I get. And again, that's why the changes happen, and that's why, yeah, the meta basically the same, and we don't have much to report on that. But I did want to give that breakdown of why this is basically going to be the same until the next patch, when maybe we see some buffs, we see some more significant nerfs, and also see how the meta develops until then. So that's something to look out for. And as always, I like to remind you guys, whenever there's a balance patch, type in refund. You can check out what cards have been nerfed, what full dust you can get. Already disenchanted my regular ones. Always recommend disenchanting because you can always recraft it later. Again, unless you're a completionist like me. I also wanted to make note for our foreign language, not possibly English speaking or like first language users for Hearthstone. They changed the spark bots, right? The colors to more match what they're supposed to be. If you can see behind me here, you can see that a little bit better. But yeah, they changed the colors, but for some reason, for some languages, they forgot to change the names of the cards. So I had like one viewer today tell me my opponent played a poisonous spark bot, but it gave his mecha reborn. It was very confused. So if you're wondering why some of them might be a little bit messed up, if you're not using English as your first language in Hearthstone, like Spanish was the example I had, the localization's a bit messed up, and that also has to do with how hotfixing in itself doesn't really solve this stuff. So be aware of that going forward. I also wanted to mention I've completed all the achievements for Titans within a week. I have problems, no life, but that's what I do, 100%. So you could probably expect our achievement guide, we always do, this weekend, if that's something you're interested in. I was also able to claim hero skin Zombie Queen Scarlet, the Death Knight skin, on that events track, and she sounds and looks like this.
Scarlet versus the Lich King.
All will serve me in death.
Let the blight begin. Come, be my pet. You'll make a good servant. My undying gratitude. Haven't seen that before. A pity. Must I kill you again? You maggot!
Such a pity.
Blast!
And yeah, be aware, this event takes 4,000 XP. It took me about a week straight of doing all the quests and playing quite a lot to complete. So if you like that portrait, you want to get it for free, it is currently in the game. You just have to complete this event, and you also get a bunch of packs doing that. So just be aware that is still going on. As for the shop update, no Diamond Agrimar yet. Still hasn't popped up, but there are 2 new bundles. Legends of the Festival and Legends of the Lich King bundle. They're like $20 USD, 25 Canadian for 20 packs each. They both come with 2 random legendaries or duplicate protected. If you're interested in, building up your collection, it's a reasonable way of going about it. Not the, the most attractive route in the world. Not in the highest recommended train, but it's not terrible. You're getting a bit of a discount getting those legendaries, but nothing too crazy like that. 20 packs doesn't even guarantee you a legendary, by the way. On average, you'll get one, but not guaranteed. That's only 40 packs, so be aware of that. Also have a returning favorite portrait of Righteous Inferno Uther, one of the more unique looking Uther portraits. It's 1,000 gold, the only way to get it. You can't even buy it for money. What a weird concept by Blizzard. So if you missed out on that portrait and you really like it and you have 1,000 gold, you don't want to put towards packs or save for the mini set that's probably like a month and a half away still, so probably don't need to start saving for that quite yet. Be aware, it's in the shop and you can get that right now. So that's kind of the day one patch review. Again, meta not really changed that much as expected and as planned basically by the dev team. That'll get shifted up a bit more in the upcoming weeks, and I don't even know. Let me know in the comments below. Should we have an updated deck list video again tomorrow? Maybe we'll do that depending on your feedback and just to see how the meta keeps evolving, because this has been a really crazy expansion so far. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.